What's going on, everybody? It's your boy Adam. It's Sunday. I think it's 6 days left till I move, and I'm gonna sit down today and start. I think today I'm gonna try to push every video that I've shot, including this one, up to the YouTube platform and schedule them in such a way that they finish uploading and everything is kind of up to date on move day. Um, so that on my first real day in the new place, I can, what's the word I'm looking for? On my first day in the new place, I can um, start putting up videos in real time, in real time, more up to date than having them on this delay. I really don't think the landlord here has been watching any of these videos. So that's what's going on there. I gotta wake up. Um, I watched some video. It's more of a, it's a funny fiction kind of a video. I don't know how to explain it any other way, but they were also talking about how time feels like it feels like somebody flipped a switch and time is on a, like, the way we experience time has shifted, because I just remember when I was younger that, there are multiple reasons that are logical for why you might feel like this, but it just feels like I blink my eye and an hour goes by. It feels like you can't do as much in an hour as you used to be able to, and I think a lot of people feel that way. And it's, they're doing all kinds of weird experiments. um these places like CERN and these large atom colliders, and they literally say they're trying to fuck with time, create portals to other dimensions, and all this other weird shit that they're up to. um it does feel like somewhere along the way recently, like after 2020 or whatever, that the time, but at the same point, it still takes an hour to drive someplace that takes an hour to drive to. All things that you can measure, things that I could measure when I was younger, the distance between A and B, the ride to get there, riding my bicycle still takes the same amount of time to go the same distance as it always has. I'm not as in good of shape as I was in my mid 20s, so I'm a little bit slower in that regard. Probably have more endurance for the long haul nowadays than I did when I was younger for the long rides, but 15 miles an hour will still get you 15 miles in an hour. But there are other times, like this morning, I woke up, it was like 7 o'clock, and without going to sleep, I just watched a handful of YouTube videos. I did a few things. I just really didn't feel like getting out of bed yet. All of a sudden it's 10:30. And I'm like, I don't feel like I did 3.5 hours worth of stuff between waking up and getting out of bed. But this is rest day. So, and there's other things I've noticed. Like, I get out of bed at 5:30 on the 5, my bad. I get out of bed at 5 o'clock on the days that I have to ride to the bakery, and I get ready at 5:30 with the hopes of getting ready in 15 minutes, and that includes packing my backpack, getting all the bicycle stuff, air in the tires, everything from getting dressed, packing my bag, and prepping the bike. so that I can get another 45 minutes to just breathe and relax. Well, that half hour goes by in the blink of an eye. The next out the 45 minutes, it goes by so fast. And if you consider that I'm basically, the time between when I wake up and leave seems to go by so fast, but the time on the bicycle goes by slow. Um, I don't know, there's like a perception of time thing going on. And part of it, they say, is that the older you get, when you're a kid, a year feels like a long time. When you're 10 years old, a year is 1/10 of your total lifespan. But when you're 50, 1 year is 1/50th of the time that you've lived. And so your perception changes to where a year doesn't feel like it's that long anymore. Like it did when you were a kid. I remember the school year felt incredibly long. But then summer vacation felt like it was over in the snap of a finger. Like you, last day of school, yay! And then, it's back to school. And where I grew up, that was spring didn't, because Western New York has, 9 months of winter, the rest of the seasons fall within 3 months. So about a month before school lets out, it starts to get warm. And then you get that month of summer in July. And then August, it starts to get cold again, like fall. And then boom, you're back in school. And it just goes by so quick. There were days at the bakery that would feel like it's not like this anymore. And I have a feeling I know why. 2 reasons. 3 reasons, really, but 2 that I'll talk about. One is they've got me doing more things and a more when I go in, Monday, tomorrow, I know generally what I'll be doing, but I don't. Anytime I go in there, I have really no idea what they're going to do, what they're going to have me do from one moment to the next. Yesterday was no exception. It was a very wide variety of stuff I did yesterday, and each thing was time consuming to the point where a few hours would go by trying to do this one task I had to do early in the morning. As soon as I got there, ended up taking all the way to lunch, mainly because it was a large volume of things to do, and I ran out of material and I had to stop what I was doing and remake something because we ran out. In order what I needed to finish the job, I had to go make more of what I needed. So it was just an involved thing. Everybody laughs. Everybody likes to call me the slow old man. So, and I said, well, it's because it's like I get here and you look around, you're like, what is the one thing I don't want to do? Oh, we'll make Adam do that. If I don't want to spend all day doing that, we'll let Adam do it, and then we'll make fun of him for being slow all day. Haha. But we're all clowns. We all joke around. We all laugh. So, but I didn't mind. I'm like, they said, what, do you hate this? You hate, I'm like, if I wasn't doing this all day, I'd be doing something else I hate. So, what's the difference? So, but the fact that they give me things to do that are things that make, like, I don't stare at the clock when I'm doing these things. I don't even really think about the time anymore. And then all of a sudden, wow. Like, a lot of times, I'll go take a bathroom break. I'll go to the bathroom and I'll try to estimate what time it is in my head. And lately, it's later than I thought it was. Whereas other days earlier in this job, I would go to use the bathroom and I would think, there's other clocks to look at, but I would feel like 4 or 5 hours went by and I'd look, oh, it's only been a half hour. Now I'll think, oh, I bet it's 10 o'clock in the morning. And I'll look and it's like 10:45. And then I'll think, oh, it's got to be like noon and it'll be 1 o'clock. Like things like that. So so it just means that the job got better. Um, the variety of things to do, the people I work with, and there's some other changes that I've noticed since I started working there that made it better. It's a pretty chill, it's a pretty good place to be. I think another part of it is the working 2 days a week and sticking to the morning shifts, because it's a different kind of busy. I think we tend to be busier in the evenings and later in the day in terms of volume of customers, but in the morning we'll be really busy preparing for that. We do more making of things in the mornings, and we do more selling of things in the afternoons and evenings, to the point where if we don't make enough stuff in the morning up to early afternoon, then the people that come in for the afternoon and evening get screwed. And so I prefer that side of the fence, making stuff versus scrambling to fill customer orders when, there's a line of people out the door. Um, for different reasons. Some people are the opposite, believe it or not, but that's fine. We need everybody, both types, or both types of people are needed. And so I think the day goes by quicker when I come in earlier and, work the daylight hours versus the other way around. But I don't know. It's just a perception thing I've noticed at this place. But like today, it's already, I'm still trying to figure out when I want to tell this landlord that I'm leaving, because I'm expecting a pretty nasty backlash from him, and I need to be in a place where I can deal with it. And really, I only need to deal with this for 6 more days, maybe less. And I swapped my availability around so that I can have basically Monday and Tuesday to go to the bakery, and then Wednesday, Thursday, Friday, Saturday to move. I don't need more than a day. The stuff that's stored up in that little loft needs to be pulled down. The last time I pulled that stuff down was easy. It took me 20 minutes to get everything down from there. And then I've got bags and boxes. I've got a box full of bags. My biggest storage tote is holding a bunch of bags right now. So when I empty that storage tote, I'm going to have 3 giant backpacks plus some other bags to pack things into, and a big giant coffin size storage tote to put things in. And I'm really not going to be super organized about how I pack. I'm literally just gonna start dumping things in and just getting it done, because I have to balance out, like, what do I need versus, I don't know. I don't feel like I don't feel that much of a need to, I don't feel like I don't have that much of a need to do all this stuff. So anyway, I don't feel like I have a need to be super, I don't feel like I'm going to need 3 days to do all of this. It didn't take that long to pack to move in. So But there's a few things that I need to be careful about. There are things that I have now that I didn't have then. Um, but not much. It's not like I could fit a lot of stuff in here when I moved in, so I didn't buy anything of any significant size when I moved in. Um, but there is going to be, I don't know, I wish I could just get this knot out of my stomach that I feel when I start thinking about all of it. Because in the end, it's good. Like, this is a good thing. I'm getting out of this hellhole. This place has really, like, destroyed me for the last couple of months, and I'm ready to be done. But I guess, I had the same kind of nervous energy when I was getting ready to leave Jamestown. I remember how terrified's the wrong word, but I had a lot of nervous energy when I left the homeless shelter and I had somebody giving me a ride to Buffalo to get in the rental vehicle, all the way up to when I got in the rental vehicle and I hit the button. It was a hybrid, so I'm not used to driving those. I hit the button to start the vehicle and there's no noise. And I'm like, what's going on? I felt like it wasn't starting. And I thought, oh no, what's going on? I kept turning it off, turning it back on until I realized, wait a minute, I think it is on. And I hit the gas pedal. Oh, because this was the most quiet vehicle I've ever driven. I guess when you start the Toyota Sienna, it's in like electric mode until you start moving down the road and the gas engine kicks in. I don't know. I don't know how those work, but dead silent when you started that thing. And I had a lot of nervous energy at different parts of the trip, like above and beyond anything that you would normally have in that situation for different reasons. But, it's just this battle I'm going through of trying to not worry about things. Like, these are the number one Bible verse that I taught myself to memorize was, look at the birds of the air. They neither sow nor reap nor gather into barns, yet your heavenly Father still feeds them. Does he not care more for you than them? And it's from the book of Matthew. And, that's the one thing that I remember the first time I memorized that verse to where I could just say it word for word from the New King James Bible. And a flock of birds showed up. A giant flock of seagulls came out of nowhere, swirled around, and landed right in front of me. There was a guy, a prisoner, sitting on a bench out in the rec yard, and he was getting ready to throw bread around or whatever and feed the birds, which is even more ironic, your heavenly Father still feeds the birds. But when I was walking around the track, and when I got to the point where I was like, okay, I'm going to memorize these verses, so I wrote them all down on a sheet of paper, all these verses I wanted to memorize. And I'd fold it up and put it in my pocket. And then I would recite the verse. And then I'd pull it out of my pocket and read it again to see if I got anything wrong. Like, I wanted to know them word for word. And I remember, so I was walking and I recited that verse word for word without having to pull the thing out, because I wanted it, like I said, word for word, not like I just did, which was kind of approximately what it says, but word for word out of that version of the Bible. And so I had pages of verses I wanted to try and memorize. And so as I would, but this particular one was the first, because this was something I just decided to do one day. When you're in prison, you don't got much to do. I mean, you watch Shawshank, you got the guy who's got he had a pet mouse or a pet squirrel or some shit. Like, you'll come up with crazy shit to occupy your time. And so that's not even, memorizing a Bible verse is not that crazy of a thing to do to occupy time in your mind. But when I memorized that verse, like I said, as soon as I did, these seagulls came from nowhere. And they swarmed on this guy who started feeding them. Like, probably 100 seagulls. Just, boom, showed up. And so I was like, yeah, that matches. Matches what I just said. But that one sticks. That was the one that always... There was a guy in the one jail I was at. Everybody has a jail name. His jail name was Tweet. Everybody's got I think that's partly so that you don't know anybody's name when you get out. But yeah, everybody in jail has a fucking nickname. In fact, like, sometimes you hear the same nicknames a million times. Like, you got Cash, Money, D Money, B Money, G Money, Money Bag, Cash Money. And the only thing all those guys had in common is none of them ever had any cash and none of them ever had any money. But then you got other people with their nicknames, everything you can imagine. And my nickname was A Dog. A Dog. What's up, A Dog? And that was given to me by the notorious gangster Frank White from Homewood. He's the one he started calling me A Dog down in the kitchen, and boom, that's my name from now on. I'm A Dog. What's up, A Dog? So your jail name is typically, I don't know, I feel like a fucking middle-aged white guy coming in calling himself A Dog is not gonna, I don't think that's gonna work out too well for you. If you start calling all these gangsters, tell them, oh, I'm A Dog, what's up? They all assume that if you're a middle-aged white guy coming into prison, oh, he's a child molester. Right off the bat, you got to prove to them that you're not a child molester, number one. And then once they find out that you're not, you go from there. But if I show up on a new cell block and I'm like, hey, everybody, my name is A Dog, nice to meet you all. No, it don't fucking work like that. But if they give you a nickname, then you just take it. You're like, okay, I'm A Dog, what's up? So, this dude Tweet, I don't know why we called him Tweet. I don't think it had anything to do with Twitter. I don't know. I don't know why they called him Tweet. I don't know why anybody had their name. Jinx, Tweet. Shit, I can't even remember all the damn nicknames. But for the most part, I can't remember any of their names. Man is another one. But this dude Tweet, we would go to Bible study a lot. Pretty much any time there was Bible study, both of us would be there. And I would talk about, and he would, about worrying about stuff, and he would always bring up that, God feeds the birds. So you don't think you don't think he's going to take care of you? And so I don't know. He was a cool dude. I hope he's doing well. I really don't know what he did to get himself in there. I just hope. I hope he's doing all right. Um, you do meet people along the way that I may not ever talk to them again, or come across them again in life, but you're like, you do meet people that are good people. And people make mistakes. And so this dude always, so that this birds of the air verse always sticks out in my mind as um because that's one of my biggest problems in life, is that I worry too much about things that are either completely out of my control, or I will worry about things and try to make predictions about things that I'll try to make predictions about things that are I try to make predictions about things that are going to come to pass, that don't come to pass. But in this case, with this landlord, he's done enough to make me believe that he is going to try to make things difficult. Um, so I just don't know what the best course of action is here. And I'm wrestling with it because you know what I mean? Like, I don't know. All I'm saying is it's definitely like, which way do I go? Do I tell him and then he turns the next 4 or 5 days into an absolute nightmare? Or do I just go about my business and get things done and get the fuck out of here, and then be like, oh, by the way, I'm gone? At which point, what's the best way? But I also feel like God's protecting me through all of this. So, and I've got tons of examples just from the last couple of weeks of where he just keeps, I feel like he will protect me no matter which way I go. So, the things that I'm concerned about with what this guy may or may not do is it unfounded? I would say no, it's not unfounded. He has done plenty of things to indicate that you know what I mean? Like, to feel the way I'm feeling right now. If it was any other landlord, I would have already worked this shit out. But this guy is unpredictable. He's unstable. I think he's a bit, I don't think he's going to be violent. I don't think that's going to be the case. But, you never know. I could come home from the bakery tomorrow and the door's locked and I can't get my key in, and he changed the locks, or, you know what I mean? He could do something crazy shit in retaliation. And I just don't trust it. I could easily break in to this place with nothing more than a piece of plastic. Another thing I've noticed is that the door, um, the door to this place was installed backwards, or the I don't know about the new place I'm moving into, but usually, and I didn't notice this until I thought, and it actually makes it harder to break into. But usually, when the front door of your place opens inward, how many times do you have a door to go into a building or into a place where the door opens outward instead of inward? Unless it's like a business. You know, a lot of businesses you have to pull the door to go in and you push the door to go out. But I don't recall too many places I've ever lived, if any at all, to where the front door of your place or any door to get into your place opens outward instead of inward. And in this case, I think it works because it's a tiny house, and having the door open outward means that, like, I have a wire shelf unit in the front corner of the place that if the door opened inward and that was the side that the hinges were on, I wouldn't be able to have a shelf there. And if it opened inward, in fact, I wouldn't be able to have that shelf there no matter what, because it does stick out into the door frame a little bit. So in this case it works. But when I was thinking about, like, if I thought about one day, I'm like, if he locked me out of the place, I could use a credit card, an old card, to get in, because it doesn't have a deadbolt. That's another thing that it's supposed to have. By law, you're supposed to have a deadbolt. And this doesn't. I don't even know if the new place does. That's something I keep thinking of to check in the photographs. But I don't remember if it does or not. And if it doesn't, I'm going to ask him to put one in. Because it's not hard to do. And but anyway, and then I'm looking at the door, and I'm like, wait a minute. This door, it's not right. I'm like, normally you just take a credit card and go poof into the door to pop the latch open. And then I'm like, wait a minute. You can't do that on this door because the flat side of the latch is facing outward. And I'm like, yeah, that's because like I said, I'm like, it's not often that you see a door on a unit that opens to the outside. In fact, I cannot remember ever having lived in a place that has a door that opens to the outside. Usually you might have a storm door and an inner door. But even at my last house, I didn't have storm doors. All the doors opened to the inside. You open the door opens inward. Every door. Strange. I don't know. I'm just so out of my mind right now. I got so many things swirling through my head. It's hard. It's like this it's going to be hell week coming up, but hopefully not bad. It's all for a good cause. It's just, I wish I could just fast forward 1 week from today, yeah, today being Sunday. I wish I could just hit a button and magically be a week from now and just skip this week in between and just be at my new place and all moved in. That's hard. That's hard to. That's a tough thing right now. Trying to. It's got to take a deep breath and realize that, this week is going to go by quick and it'll be done. Let's see. So I did have something on my mind like a topic of discussion for this video. And this is another thing. I just can't wait until there's some, aside from the traffic noise that you hear, I'm listening to music or a TV or something, and I don't know if it's the people out on the back patio here or the neighbors next door. Like, this place has gotten to the point where I don't want to open that door. I don't want to open the windows. I don't want to actually see anybody. I don't want to talk to anybody. I'm telling you, the number of times I hear a siren go by like that. In a period, if I'm sitting here for 24 hours, 70 times. It's like 3 times an hour. At least 3 times an hour on average, sometimes more, sometimes less. 24 hours a day. That's all you hear. And this neighborhood fucking sucks, man. It's like a nice suburb neighborhood all tucked away behind these busy streets. But it's also like being in the ghetto at the same time. I had a whole like topic of discussion for this video. But now it's half an hour. It's more than half an hour in, and I never touched on it. And it has to do with, well, I was watching a video, the feed. I was just scrolling the phone this morning while I didn't want to wake up. I didn't want to get up, but I did. I'm just like, it's like watching TV for me. I don't have a TV, so I just watched some videos in the feed. One of them popped up. It was a woman trying to cancel her internet subscription, and how these companies make it impossible to cancel your service. I was talking about that with a gym membership, how they make it, you can join LA Fitness, click, enter your credit card, click, you're a member. Congratulations, it's that fast. Oh, but you want to cancel your membership? You can't do that. You can't. Well, supposedly, the Federal Trade Commission is trying to put out a rule or an order or a law. I don't know what it's called when it's not a law that Congress passes, but it's just one of these alphabet agencies makes up a rule. A lot of times, the alphabet agency makes up a rule, and then they push Congress to pass it into law. Sometimes it's for our benefit. Usually it's not. But, okay, now I know the train of thought that I was on. So, they're trying to make a law, and I've seen videos on this, I've seen some write-ups about it, where any company that has a service that's a monthly subscription, a monthly service, a monthly whatever it is, gym membership, internet utility, software subscription, whatever it is, if you can sign up for it if it's easy to sign up for, they have to offer you the same method of cancellation as you went through to sign up. So if it's literally go to a website, click, enter your credit card, click, you're a member, then you need to be able to log into that same account and go cancel, click, do you confirm your membership cancellation? Yes, click. okay, your membership will be active until your next billing cycle, at which point you won't be billed. It needs to be that simple. No, the gym memberships are so difficult that it can take 2 to 3 months to cancel your membership after you want to cancel. And so I won't join a gym just because of how ridiculous they make it when you decide you don't want to go there anymore. They're just, other than the fact that, going to a gym is not a bad idea, it's just very scammy the way they operate gyms. And I think more people would go to gyms and sign up. I think the number one thing that stops people from going to a gym is the fact that every gym out there has a membership scam where you can't cancel all of a sudden. And that stops people in their tracks from wanting to sign up for something like that. I think if they weren't so fucking scammy, more people would go. And yeah, you would have people, the New Year's resolution people, they'd sign up and 2 months later they'd cancel and all that. Like gyms make their income by people basically signing up for a membership and then never going to use it, but never being able to cancel. So they stretch people out for several months by getting that recurring billing. The last time I joined a gym, I was going to this gym for physical therapy. The physical therapist's office was in the gym. And when my physical therapy was coming to an end, I liked the gym. I had been going there. They had a pool. They didn't have a hot tub, but they had like a spa, like, it wasn't quite as hot as a hot tub, but it was hot enough. And it had jets and whatnot. And it was like, okay, that would be nice to sit in after a workout. And so I got myself a 6-month membership and paid for it in one shot. And what happened was that was in the beginning of 2020. And so 3 months into it, they shut the gym down and they closed and nobody could go. And then when they reopened the gym, they said, they basically made all these dumbass rules, like you had to wear a mask and you'd have to make an appointment to come in, and you could only work out for a half hour to an hour once a week or something like that. And I emailed them. I'm like, what are you going to do about the people that signed up for a 6-month membership and got screwed out of the last 3 months? They're like, nothing. They basically told me to go fuck myself. So I was like, all right, I will never come back to your fucking gym again. And I never did. And they're basically like, it's not our fault. And I'm like, well, you could have done something for your customers that you fucked over, or you could have just said, we're not closing because this is all bullshit. I would not have closed my business. If I owned a business during COVID, they would have had to drag me out and throw me in jail. And then I would have probably been able to turn around, and because the same federal judge who threw me in prison overruled the governor of Pennsylvania and stopped him from being able to shut people's businesses down and do all of that bullshit. And then after that, business owners who were fucked over by him started suing the state, getting compensation for the shit that governor put everybody through, that fucking piece of shit. And so I don't know. There's just so much. But anyway, these companies, so this is kind of where, so I was reading about, where I saw this video was on a message board, which is basically filled with Republicans, Trump supporters. It's a pro-Trump message board. And it's a good place to go and get news, because you can't go to news websites anymore and actually find out what's going on. You've got to go to, like, you got to listen to podcasts, you've got to go to message boards, you've got to go different places to find out what's going on anymore, because the news is just nothing but propaganda and bullshit, and there's really no news there. Rarely. And so this message board always has good news articles. And this is where that video was. Well, there were all these people arguing in the comments about the Federal Trade, because somebody mentioned that the Federal Trade Commission is about to pass a law that makes it so that if something's easy to sign up for, it should be just as easy to cancel. And all these Republicans were getting mad. Oh, we're going to be just like the European Union. You're just going to, the more you have government come in to fix the problem, the more problems we're going to have. And it's like, this is like, this message board, when I listen to the people's bullshit comments, are, I made a comment to one of their threads yesterday where I was like, thank you, because when I read the comments on this message board, it puts things into perspective that you fucking Republicans are just as stupid and retarded as the fucking Democrats, and that's why I can't stand any of you. Because whatever the Democrats failed to screw up, don't worry, the Republicans will come and fix that and fuck that all up too, so that everything's fucked up. and we're basically screwed at every turn. And I'm like, what could possibly be wrong with passing a law that says companies can't basically force you? Now, the Republicans were all mad when the government turned around and said, we're going to fix the healthcare system by forcing everybody to buy health insurance, whether you can afford it or not. We're going to force you to buy it. I mean, I didn't think that was the right way to fix the system, to be honest. I thought that was pretty shitty, but that was their big argument. How can you force somebody to buy something? But now we have a situation where companies, you sign up for a service and you decide you don't want that service anymore, and the companies are essentially forcing you to buy it by not allowing you to cancel it. And so the government says, well, we're going to step in and we're going to fine companies who do this to people to make them stop. And people are like, oh, it's going to be more government regulation, it's going to make everything worse. And I'm like, the one time that the government comes in and actually does something right, and you're going to bitch about it. Fuck all of you. And the reason why these companies do these things is because all the companies in that genre or whatever do it. Like, they have, and a lot of times these companies have collective agreements where they will all behave the same way in order to protect the industry as a whole versus competing with each other on certain aspects, and that would be one of them. I've got another example of that from my past. So you'll have, in Pittsburgh, there's two major gas station chains. One is owned by the biggest grocery store, and the other one is Sheetz. So there's one. I worked for the biggest grocery store chain in Pittsburgh, and I guess that's Giant Eagle, since it doesn't. I don't know. I don't think any of this is all pretty common knowledge, so I don't think it's a big deal. But they have agreements that are essentially, because this grocery store chain, they have gas stations, and you fill up your gas at their gas station. You get points towards your groceries. When you buy groceries at the grocery store, you get discounts on the gas. And so a lot of people, that's why people go to that gas station. but it's a carbon copy of Sheetz. It's just shittier. And Sheetz is like this modern gas station where you can go in and order food on a touch screen, and they're very clean and big for a lot. Most of them are generally pretty big, and they're not like size of a grocery store, but they're way better than your typical crummy gas station. And so Giant Eagle made a carbon copy of Sheetz. But they have like this business level agreement that they won't open a store within a certain distance of the other one, so that they don't drive each other out of business or compete with each other, because they feel like a pissing contest like that would damage their own business just as much as it damages the other competitor. So and this happens a lot in business, where companies will collectively agree to do something and not step out of that boundary in order to protect the business as a whole. There's a whole documentary about planned obsolescence where all the light bulb companies agreed to manufacture light bulbs that would only last, I think it was 1,000 hours, because light bulbs were getting to the point where they would last for decades. And they said, if a company makes a light bulb that lasts forever, all the light bulb companies are going to go out of business because nobody's going to need to buy light bulbs anymore. So the light bulb companies as a whole got together and agreed that they would limit the longevity of their product to be a certain number of hours. And anybody who deviated beyond that and tried to compete, the other companies would collectively push them out of business and do underhanded things and get them shut down. And so nobody could, even though there were multiple companies competing with each other, nobody could step out of the bounds of that agreement without collectively all the other competitors coming at them so hard that they would end up being shut down. So there's no way that a company now could make a light bulb that lasts forever. There's a whole documentary about this. I've just given you enough you can find it. And you can search YouTube, you'll find it. It's not hard to find. There's a light bulb in a firehouse somewhere in America that's been continuously running for almost 100 years. It's an old light bulb hanging in this fire station. It was turned on at some point, and it hasn't burned out, and it hasn't stopped working and it's closing in on 100 years, maybe more, but it's almost 100 years old, and the light bulb still shines. Like, it's so famous that people come from all over the place just to see the fucking light bulb. But they don't make light bulbs like that anymore. And so it's the same thing with companies that compete with each other. If they feel like they can't beat each other, then they collectively agree to behave the same and not compete. So another example of how that works is companies in a certain region will agree not to pay workers any more than what the other companies are paying workers. Because one way you could compete in a marketplace is by gobbling up all the best employees from around a region to come work for you by simply paying them more than the competitors are paying. But companies will get together and agree collectively to keep wages low, because that maximizes profits for everybody. If we can keep paying everybody $5 an hour, if a company starts paying employees, they present it as this: if a company starts paying employees $20 an hour but keeps their prices the same, now all of the other companies will have to pay $20 an hour, and this wage war the competitive wage war will get to the point where none of us are making any profits and we're all hurting ourselves. So let's collectively agree to pay these peasants $5 an hour, and we'll never compete with each other on pay. So that no matter where these peasants go to work, they'll be making the same amount of money. That protects all of us, the business class, the elite. That protects all of our profits. We can still compete with each other, but we're all going to do it on a friendly, level playing field, right? It's just like when armies agree to, well, we're going to fight each other on the battlefield, but we're not going to use poison gas anymore. We're not going to use nuclear weapons. We're not going to do these. We're not going to use certain things. We're not going to. I mean, they banned the use of triangular shaped bayonets on the ends of muskets because they were too. They were considered too cruel. Because the wound, when you stabbed somebody with one of those, the wound wouldn't heal, and the soldier would die from bleeding out. Whereas if you used a blade, a straight, flat blade as a bayonet, the wound could be stitched, and the soldier might live. So they will have these collective agreements, and it's the same thing. The collective agreement means that your army won't use those tactics on us. We won't use the same tactics on you. Therefore, we're basically, we're still going to fight, but we're going to do it with a set of rules to protect our own people along. Yeah, it's fucking retarded. It's weird. Because, war should be wipe out the other fucking side. Whatever. I mean, it's war. But they do have gentlemen's agreements when it comes to fighting wars. Same thing with companies fighting each other, etc., etc. And so the gyms and these companies that make it difficult to cancel, that's why you have 3 cell phone companies, Verizon, T-Mobile, AT&T, they're all the same. They treat you the same, they're basically the same price, they have the same level of coverage more or less. Like, there isn't any real difference between them. That's why if you get sick of AT&T and you go to T-Mobile and you find out, wow, they suck just as bad. And this, that, and the other things. So, like, they all suck. They all have a collective agreement that we are all going to suck. That way, we're protecting our own profits at the expense of potentially being able to take out the competition. But they also know that there's 3 companies, right? If one of them were to outcompete the other 2 to the point where they shut the other 2 down, now the company that won is now considered a monopoly, and they're going to have to answer to the government, and they're going to be getting involved in antitrust actions, and the company might be broken up into smaller companies. So they're actually protecting themselves by creating these agreements with their competitors that they won't compete with each other in certain ways. And so that's why that's why every fucking gym that you join has a shitty cancellation process that once you join the gym, you can't unjoin. The only thing you could do to get out of it would be to cancel. You have to join the gym with a credit card that you can throw away, and you have to be able to, like, throw away the account completely. To the point where when you cancel that gym membership and they keep trying to charge your card, the credit card company won't pay them because you no longer have the account with them. That's the only way to get out of joining a gym. But all gyms are the same. And they know that if a gym showed up to where you can just cancel when you want, I would be willing to bet these gyms have some sort of collective agreement that this is how we're going to behave. And we're going to do it across the board, because if we don't, it's going to hurt all of us as a collective. And we suffer. The consumer suffers at the end of that. So this is like Republicans getting angry that the government stepped in to disband Standard Oil, that the government stepped in to disband the Bell Telephone Company and turn it into, because there was no competition. When I was a kid, just to make a phone call to the town next door, it might cost you 25, $30 just to talk to somebody for half an hour to an hour who lived 20 miles away. All because of the monopoly the phone company had. The phone company, Bell Telephone. They had to break that company up to create competition. So it's just kind of like there is no definite answer as to what's right and what's wrong. It's just that when companies are doing us wrong and the government steps in to say, look, we're going to take the side of the people on this one and create rules that you have to follow because collectively you're screwing people over for your own collective benefit and it's hurting the people, we're going to put a stop to that. I don't think there's anything wrong with that. In fact, I think, that's one of the things government should do. But Republicans hate that. And so you fucking scumbag Republicans, good luck trying to cancel your fucking internet account if you get a better deal from another internet company. And then maybe, when you go through hell trying to cancel your account, maybe you'll think twice about being against something like that. I don't know. But so on the flip side of that, when a company wants to drive another company out, the grocery store I worked for. So there was a discount grocery store showed up in Pittsburgh. It was called Bottom Dollar. And they set up shop in Pittsburgh and they had TV ads and it was like a discount grocery store. It was like it was kind of like Aldi's, but it wasn't just a bunch of canned goods and shit. I never really went into these. I have for me to go grocery shopping somewhere, I don't judge the grocery store on price. I never pick a grocery store based on prices. Primarily for me, it's the experience of going to the grocery store that will drive me away or keep me there. The prices don't matter. So, for example, here, and this is just a prelude to the story I'm about to share, but here where I live right now, there are three options. There's Walmart, Target, and then an H-E-B grocery store. Every time I go to that H-E-B grocery store, even if it's just to get a money order so that I could pay my rent here, all I see are gangsters walking around with their pants pulled down to their knees, obnoxious customers. It's so chaotic and such shit. You got all the employees of the store wearing their COVID masks. It's 2025 and they're all walking around with their fucking Darth Vader mask on their face, and it's so uncomfortable. And the parking lot is full of assholes. It's just, whenever I pull into that fucking grocery store on a bike, go in just to get a money order, I can't wait to get out. I'm running to my bike to get everything is so horrible. From pulling into the parking lot to walking into the store to getting the freaking money order, turning around. Everything is terrible about this place. Horrid. I will not grocery shop there, ever. I bought milk. One time I was there, I figured, why not? I'll go buy some milk. Because I can get the milk in the glass bottles that I can't get anywhere else. So I've crossed even though as a grocery store, it's probably the best grocery store. I did walk around. I saw what they had. It's probably the best grocery store. But I won't go there because the atmosphere is so toxic that I don't want anything to do with it. I don't want to be anywhere near it. Fuck that place. So option number 2, Walmart. All right. Compare, just in your mind, The people that shop at Walmart versus the people that shop at Target. What do you see? What comes to mind? Okay, they have websites called The People of Walmart. The people that shop at Walmart. There's whole video categories. Here are the people that shop at Walmart. You picturing this? You picturing the videos that you've seen? Are you picturing the photographs that you've seen of people that shop at Walmart? Do they have a website of people who shop at Target, the people of Target, etc., etc.? No. Why? Because all the fucking retards go to Walmart. All the horrible people, all the dregs of society go to Walmart to shop. They don't go to Target. I'm not saying Target is good. I don't like going grocery shopping there, to be honest. But when you go to Walmart, you know what you're going to see. You know what you're going to get. You know how bad it's going to be. I've already told you the other grocery store is horrid. Absolutely horrid. From the moment you get to the parking lot to the moment you leave, it's an absolutely abysmal, horrendous experience. I went grocery shopping at Target the other day. Late afternoon, probably about 5 o'clock, give or take, on whatever day it was, Wednesday. Quiet, peaceful, tranquil. I went in with my list, and I mean, every time I go there, even when it's busy, even when there's a lot of people there, there's a bunch of stuff I hate about that Target store. I could list them. But out of all 3 stores around me that I can go grocery shopping at, that's the one store that I can go in and out of without losing my mind because of the people I'm surrounded by. They don't go to Target. The dregs of society around where I live, they don't go there. So I'm going to go there because I won't be surrounded by them. That's the number one reason. I don't care what shit costs. I don't care about the variety, whatever. It all boils down to, can I go there and leave without losing my fucking mind being surrounded by a bunch of batshit crazy retards for the next hour and a half? People are generally polite. It's quiet. It's, even when it's busy, it's not bad to be there. It's not like, it's not a horrible experience. So, they have a lot of problems, and it's a bad store. Even as far as Target is concerned, it's like the ghettoest version of Target you could ever experience. But it's better than the other 2 places. So I go there. And on Wednesday, I went there. I got my grocery shopping done. And I turned around and left. And, I mean, I was in and out. I had a list. I generally know where things are. So I went boom, 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 down the aisles, got what I needed, was in and out. No problems. The parking lot is peaceful. Everything about the experience, all the way to walking back and forth, no problems. It's not my favorite, but it gets the job done. If I went to that grocery store, I would literally lose my fucking mind, and I might just abandon a cart in the middle of the grocery store and walk out because I can't stand being there anymore. So, prices don't drive me to a grocery store. I was like that in Pittsburgh. I've been like that my whole life, grocery shopping. I won't go grocery shopping someplace that drives me insane just to be in the store. So there's another H-E-B grocery store near where my friend lives. It's great. I go there. I used to go there once a week when I was living with my friend. Nice atmosphere. Totally different than the one here where I live. And so price doesn't matter. But to some people, and I'm poor. I'm poor. But I feel like you go to it doesn't matter what grocery store you go to, your bill's going to be about the same. Different things are going to be different prices. When you go to one grocery store that you think is cheaper, you're going to find out different things are more expensive. and your bill, you're going to end up spending the same amount of money to get the same amount of shit no matter which store you go to. The only way to really play that game by price and do good at it is to cut coupons, match the coupons up with what's on sale at the stores, and go to all the grocery stores with a list for each store so that you're getting the best price on all of it. So if I had a car and time, I could see myself cutting coupons and going to each store to get different things. And I could, if you play your cards right, you can get your groceries for half price. But it takes work. It's not easy to do. But you can get your groceries for half price if you play that game. But you have to invest you have to put in some time to play that game. But in Pittsburgh, a lot of people everywhere, not just Pittsburgh, they shop based on price. So you got Aldi. I hate going to Aldi. There are certain things that I like to get from Aldi because you can't get it anywhere else. Trader Joe's is also owned by Aldi, and in Germany, where they're from, it would be like they have a blue Aldi and a red Aldi. Red Aldi is basically called Trader Joe's here in America. Trader Joe's has all kinds of stuff that you can't get anywhere else, and so that I love going there just for that reason. You only find Trader Joe's in nice neighborhoods because it costs more than regular Aldi. I don't like Aldi. I don't like the bullshit having to put a quarter in the shopping cart, like all having to, like, not having any bags to put your stuff in. Like, I don't like the experience of Aldi's. So I do go there from time to time because there are certain things I can get. But overall, it's not my weekly grocery shop. That's like an Aldi trip is like a once in a while thing to get certain things, just to go in and get some stuff because it's something to do different. But it's not going to be my grocery stop. Same with Trader Joe's, but no, for a regular grocery shopping trip, it's going to be the one that drives me the least crazy. That's the number one thing. But some people just choose based on price. And so in Pittsburgh, this discount grocery store popped up called Bottom Dollar. And there are other discount grocery stores that are cheaper than the Giant Eagle is the flagship grocery store in the region. And they can be the most expensive. And so when this discount grocery store popped up, Giant Eagle was like, no, we're not having this. So Giant Eagle created a grocery store that was a discount grocery store, and it was called Good Sense, CENTS instead of Sense, SENSE. Good Sense. Get it? You have good sense to shop. They always come up with corny ass shit like that for their marketing. So they made this store called Good Sense, and it was a discount grocery store, literally a carbon copy of Bottom Dollar. And then they went and opened up a Good Sense grocery store right next door to every single Bottom Dollar in the whole fucking area. Literally, there was one plaza where a Bottom Dollar store opened up, and Giant Eagle opened up the Good Sense store in the same plaza, literally right next door to Bottom Dollar. There was a divider wall in the plaza that was the only wall separating the two grocery stores. They literally popped up their own discount grocery store right next to Bottom Dollar everywhere in the city. Right next door. And so for people, like, there were a lot of people that were like, oh, that's pretty cool. There's two discount grocery stores right next door to each other. You can park in the same parking lot and go to both and shop at both. But Giant Eagle is a huge company with tons of stores. So that was their way of saying, we don't want you in our town. This Bottom Dollar couldn't compete with that, because now every single location of theirs is getting bastardized and they're losing half of their sales to this new grocery store that popped up next door. They literally, that probably cut into their market share by half. So now, Bottom Dollar, after a period of time, announced that they're shutting down all their stores in Pittsburgh. It was all over the news. Bottom Dollar is going to close on such and such date, all locations. They're going out of business. They're leaving town. The very next day after they made that announcement, Giant Eagle gets on the news and says, we're closing all of our Good Sense locations all over Pittsburgh, effective whatever date. And that just proved that they set up, and I worked there, so take my word for it. They went to they're so unscrupulous that they literally created a grocery store chain and set it up all over town. Tons of locations, tons of employees. They went through the product, everything, millions and millions of dollars to create all of these to create a whole grocery store chain just for the explicit purpose of shutting down a grocery store chain. And when that chain announced that they were shutting their doors, Giant Eagle was like, okay, we're closing all those stores. The very next day, they said, we're shutting this down. And so think about all the people that lost their jobs in both of those grocery store chains alone. If you had 40 stores, let's just say 20 to 40 stores worth of employees on both sides of the fence. So, that could be like 50 to 100 stores full of people, employees that all lost their jobs because of a corporate pissing match between two companies. Look at all the people in the neighborhood who lost access to affordable groceries because of a pissing match between these companies. You know what I'm saying? Like, this is how capitalism works. Unbridled, pure capitalism works by fuck the people, let the rich assholes do whatever they want. And who cares about the consequences as to what happens to the people? And then unbridled communism is when the government owns everything and tries to force everybody to provide for the common good, when it's human nature to basically watch out for yourself. And so the whole point of that is that neither works. Neither one works. Pure communism, where you're forcing everybody to provide for the common good, is going to do nothing but collapse and cause people to revolt against an oppressive totalitarian government. But pure capitalism, where you just say let the business owners run everything and fuck the people beneath them, let them do whatever they want, that's not going to work either. And in fact, that's going to basically become communism at some point. But it's going to be this oligarchy communism where it's, we provide for ourselves at the top and fuck the people below. But that's what communism ends up being too. It ends up being a bunch of rich assholes at the top, the Politburo, the party leaders. They're the ones living in the mansions. They're the ones driving the nice cars and all that shit, and everybody below them can go fuck themselves. So the role of our government should be to curtail either one of those situations from rising to the top. When these rich cocksucker oligarchs, the ones that the Republicans love so much, start to become too powerful, you got to chop their fucking head off and bring them down a few notches and put things in place that keep them from being able to be more powerful than the government at some point. That's what they had to do to Standard Oil. That's what they had to do to the Bell Telephone Company. That's what they should be doing to things like YouTube and these internet monopolies that they won't touch. That's what they should be doing. Companies that become too powerful need to be brought to heel. But at the same time, when the government becomes too powerful, it needs to be brought to heel. It needs to be brought down a couple of pegs. And so that's why I hate the Republicans and the Democrats, because the Democrats want to put all the power in the hands of the government and create a totalitarian dictatorship that micromanages every aspect of your life. But I hate the Republicans because the Republicans want to put all the power and authority into the hands of a bunch of rich businessmen who then will turn around and dictate every aspect of your life in order for you to be able to have a job. And they set the prices, and they set the wages, and they create a system that basically benefits themselves and does nothing but give them power and control over you. Either one of those systems is bad for you and me. And so that's why I hate them both. That's why I hate the Republicans. I hate the Democrats. I just don't talk about how much I hate the Republicans as much on this channel as I talk about my hatred of the Democrats, because I do hate them more. But, you know, when you look at what's going on right now in government, Elon Musk came in and found all this government waste, and he's quitting. He's like, fuck it, I found all this crazy ass government waste, and we're trying to get Congress to pass a law saying we won't waste this fucking money anymore. And Congress is like, nah, we're too busy. We got our next 100-day vacation. We don't got time for this shit. You know, we work like 30 days out of the year. What do you expect? And so they won't pass a law to codify this wasteful spending to get it out of the budget. And so at the end of the day, it's Elon's like, fuck this, I'm out. I just lost, half of my dealerships for Tesla are burned to the ground. Everybody hates me now, all because I found all this government waste. They aren't going to do anything about it. They're just going to go back to the same old shit. I quit. Fuck it. I'm done. And, but I'm not even saying I'm a big fan of Elon. Elon's one of the biggest proponents of bringing programmers over from India to be indentured servants on the H-1B visa program, while they fire American programmers and Americans can't get jobs in their own fucking country anymore. Because Elon wants to make it so that companies can hire somebody from another country to come work in America for 1/3 the cost of what it would cost, what the going rate is for an American. And at the same time, that employee that came here from India is indentured to that company. They can't just go find another job. If you work for, Shitty Bank Incorporated, and you came over from India on a visa to work at Shitty Bank, and you want to go work at Douche Bank because Douche Bank will pay you more, you can't. Not without a huge fucking hassle. You can't just go from one to the other because you're not free to do so. You're here to work for that company, and if that shit don't work out, you get to go back to India. So that means Shitty Bank can pay you substandard wages. They can force you to live in company housing. They can basically make it so that you're an indentured servant. They can pay you whatever they feel like paying you, and if you don't like it, you can eat shit because you don't have the same rights as an American citizen would have. But an American citizen having that same job would make 3 times more. That was the going rate. But now the American citizen is going to have to turn around and accept substandard wages for the same job, because now you're not competing against other Americans. You're competing against indentured slave labor from third world countries that are imported for the reason of bringing wages down. And so I don't think companies should be able to get away with that shit. And so I think Elon is a piece of shit for doing that. But, when you argue that fact with Republicans, and they just don't want to hear it. They don't want to hear the Elon bad argument. And but people in the tech industry, by and large, can't stand the fucking guy for that reason. because anybody who works as a programmer, especially programmers. Now, what I do for a living with the design side of things, it's harder to replace those people with foreigners because foreigners don't understand the design aspects of things as good as a native citizen does. Um, you can teach people how to code, you can't teach people how to be an artist to an extent. Artistry is something that, yes, you can learn, you can be taught. I would never say that it's something that you're just born with, but there is an aspect of your personality of there's creativity. What's going on, everybody? It's your boy Adam again. It is Sunday, the 25th of May. I'm pushing videos up right now. I'm saving some out. I'm basically waiting for a bar to go across the screen. And I'm just gonna mess around. I don't know. I'm taking a day to chill. I'm going to relax and get a proper amount of rest today because I think the week that's coming up is going to be extremely stressful. It could be work. It could be better. What do we got here? All right. The bakery gives me the days I ask for. It's kind of nice. I think the manager, any days that I ask to work, they let me work. So if I really felt like, oh crap, I need to get some hours, even though I've got to ride my bike. So I'm working Monday, tomorrow, and Tuesday. Boom, boom. So today I got to make sure the bicycle's ready. Everything's ready before I leave in the morning. Before I even wake up. Excuse me, I don't know why I've been getting so. There might be something in the air in this tiny house that's toxic for all I know. I don't know, man. I'm phlegmy and all kinds of crap. I'm trying to talk to you guys and that's what's happening, but I'm looking at the dates from the videos that I'm pushing up to YouTube right now. And the last one, let me take a look here because was recorded on May 9th. It's now the 25th. So imagine how many videos I recorded between May 9th and today, the 25th. 25 minus 9, I don't know, that's 16 days. 16 days of videos. More than one a day. Because I tend to do it a lot in the morning or at night before I'm about to crash out. Sometimes during the day. So I'm not sure what I want to do with these videos right now. There's a lot of stuff in there telling the story of the last month of this tiny house situation. And I'm also at the point where I want to tell the landlord that I'm moving out, but I don't. And I don't know which way to go. I think anybody who I have this conversation with, would kind of see why I'm zigging and zagging back and forth with what I want to do here. Do I just move out on the last day and tell him I'm gone? Or do I give him basically what amounts to less than a week's notice? People say legally I'd be better off giving him some notice. I just don't know which way to go because I feel like he's going to retaliate in some fashion that's going to disrupt my week and cause me to have problems. And I'm going to be gone tomorrow and Tuesday working at the bakery 2 days in a row. That's going to wipe me out physically too. I just don't. This kind of sucks, to be honest. I just got to keep in mind that, I'm almost to the finish line with this jerk. Hopefully hopefully I don't got to worry too much about this after today. Or after after I'm gone, I hope I never see the fucking asshole again. Or hear from him again. But I don't know what's going to happen. This is the kind of shit, in terms of parting ways with a landlord, it can be sketchy. In Pittsburgh, I lived in this house next to a place called Riverview Park, and it was a great house. I mean, it was old, it was drafty, it was very hard, very dark, very difficult to keep warm in the winter. You couldn't. You could keep a room here, and you could keep certain rooms warm, but it was a very old, big, drafty house. Big windows, old windows. You just couldn't do it. And it was expensive to keep it warm, to keep it livable in the winter. It was outrageous. I would be in so much debt to the natural gas company every spring that it would take me the whole summer to pay it off. I would get into basically they have like a budget plan where you can just pay a certain amount, but it worked out better for me, honestly, in the winter, I would just pay what I could, and then they would get to a point where they're sending me shut-off notices, and I would pay the shut-off amount plus extra to try and keep my account arrears from getting too crazy. And then come spring, I would just continue to do that until the shut-off notices stopped coming and I was just caught up on the bill. Because in the summer, it would be almost nothing. It would be cooking. The only thing I had was a natural gas stove. And so during the summer, the bill would be like $30. And so during the warm weather, I could get all caught up. But during the winter, that bill could be like $700 for a single month. $700 it could be for 1 month. It's insane. And that was just to keep the house at like 50 degrees. That's how bad it was. It was bad. It was awful. The rent, it was almost as much as the rent to keep the house from freezing. Just to keep the house from freezing in the winter. During the worst parts. And so it would drive me into debt every year. But when I moved out, because I had nothing to do with what I'm about to say, but when I moved out, I was on a month-to-month lease, and I never told the landlord I planned on moving, because you don't want to. It's the same thing, like these days, quitting a job, I say don't give 2 weeks notice anymore. I think that those days are over, because new companies that you're going to work for, you get a job offer, they could rescind that job offer the day before you start working. And this has happened to me before having a criminal record to worry about. I was unemployed at the time when it happened, so getting my job offer rescinded didn't cause me problems. But imagine you put in 2 weeks notice at a job that you're leaving, and then all of a sudden, a week after your 2 week notice, your new company calls and says, we're not going to hire you after all. And it could just be things have changed. We're on a hiring freeze or who knows? This happens. This is a real thing that happens. And so now you're fucked. Now you're totally fucked. You just left your job. You put in 2 week notice to quit. You either have to grovel and ask for your job back, but now the company knows that you're actively trying to leave, so you're on thin ice. Your reputation, everything is completely ruined at that place, at that point in time. Or you leave the job, you quit, you let it continue even though you lost your new job, but now you can't collect unemployment because you voluntarily left your job. So you're basically fucked from both directions. There's nothing you can do about it at that point. If you had not given them 2 weeks notice, you could just keep working as if nothing happened. This happens so often that I would highly recommend never give a 2-week notice anymore. Just on your last day, resign. Say, I'm not coming in tomorrow. Here you go. Here's everything back. Like, you prepare for it. Get your documents together, get your computer if you have a computer, whatever. In my case, I would have a computer issued by the company. I would make sure all the files are organized, easy to figure out, backed up to their servers, anything that I can do to make my exit as professional as possible in terms of handing off content, materials, anything that I'm working on, so that they can just pick it up and hand it to somebody else. But I don't understand why you should feel obligated to give a 2-week notice at a company that would send you packing out the door without even so much as a 2-minute notice when it's time to get rid of you. They're not going to give you a 2-week notice that you're losing your job. Now, one time I worked for a guy who was I'm still friends with to this day. He gave me a 1-month notice. He said, look, I'm cutting your position. We're having financial problems. He let me and another person go. But he gave both of us a 1-month notice that at the beginning of May that year, it was May 1st. He said, on the last day of May, that's going to be the last day of your employment here. And then for me, he goes, but he's like, I want you to know that, I know it's going to be hard to find a new job, or it could be. And he's like, after you leave, if you need to come back and use the equipment, like if you need to print out copies of your resume, if you need to do some stuff, if you need to work on your portfolio, please come on in and do it. I just can't pay you anymore. You'll just be, you can come in here and use the stuff that I have to get yourself, help yourself out. And I did take advantage of that for about a month after I left the company, and I turned around and found another job. It took a few months, but I was collecting unemployment. I was able to go in for an entire month, work on my portfolio, get my stuff squared away. I bought a computer, a dirt cheap computer to have at home, because my computers at home were a bit outdated and slow. But I just got the cheapest piece of junk computer that I could get in order to be able to do certain things. So I had that month-long cushion to help me get back on my feet. I was able to get a few freelance things going. But anyway, that doesn't happen. That was because this guy I worked for was more like working for he became friends with all of us. To this day, as far as I'm aware, everybody I worked with at that place is still friends with him to some extent and keeps in touch with him. But that doesn't happen. That's not a normal thing. Companies are going to say, hey, can you come down to my office for a minute? And somebody's going to be there from HR, maybe even security people, and they're going to say, you can go back to your desk and get your personal effects, but you can't log in. They're locking you out of your computer while you're in talking to your boss. You're not even going to be able to go back and open your computer back up and, oh shit, I got to close this or do that. No. So you're not getting any notice when they kick you out the door, so why give them a notice? I don't even know why I'm talking about that subject. This is where I'm at mentally. I'm just in this place. But right now, I'm uploading because of the landlord situation. So it's the same thing. If I give this guy notice, I'm giving him 5 days to do things to me, to retaliate against me, to come at me from whatever direction he wants to come at me next. Start traipsing around, letting himself into the apartment or the tiny house when I'm not here, and just, I don't know what's worse. I don't know what's going to be worse. Like, I feel like he's going to try to retaliate against me in some fashion. And I've seen the things that he's done to other people. And it makes me wonder, is that my best move? To tell him, or to just keep my mouth shut until I move? and then say, here you go, here's your notice that I'm vacating immediately. I'm not paying the extra rent. I feel like legally I'm justified in, I've looked into this. Like, it's not a gut feeling. It's research has told me that because he made me go 3 months without hot water, and he's trying to strong arm me into paying more money than the lease specifies, I'm absolved of anything to do with that lease at this point. Just the fact that the reason why I'm leaving is he's strong arming me into paying more rent, even though the lease specifies $750 a month. So when I do give notice, it's going to be, that's the reason I'm leaving, because you legally can't raise the rent and you're trying to force me to, and you made me go without hot water for 3 months. No judge is going to, based on what I know and what I've been told by legal advice, he doesn't have a pot to piss in when it comes to taking me to court for any reason at this point. He's just going to have to eat the karma that he's dished out when it comes back to him. So I'm just kind of like in this, but I'm still circling around, like, what do I do? What's the best thing to do? And it's a difficult situation. So, but I'm like, I could spend all day uploading and exporting videos. I've got 3 right here that are from May 9th, 10th, and 11th. There's 3 videos in front of me. And then I would be up to my folder labeled 513. Basically, every 2 days I've been filling the phone with video. So how long will it take me just to upload all these videos? This takes a long time to do. I'm not doing any serious editing. I did one small edit in a video today because I had to bring in some pictures to show you something. And there's one other video that I marked to possibly add some stuff to. And that's going to take a minute to do whenever I get to that video file. But I don't want to just throw away all the videos that I've shot over the last month documenting this process of moving out and looking for a place to live and all the stuff that I'm going through and all of that. I think it's part of this chaos to comeback process. But I'm thinking that my goal for today, starting at, I started at about noon doing this. I'm just going to sit here and do this today and try to get as far as I can. Like, if I can get all the videos that I've shot up till now on the YouTube channel, adding the metadata, the thumbnail image, and the different pieces of that don't take as long. But I might just start scheduling these to go boom, 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 like 3 times a day. Just to put all the videos on the channel, but catch up the timeline so that it evens out, so that when I move in next week, the timeline is, I think I have an idea of how to do this, but when I get to the move next week and I start uploading videos, they're more in sync with the actual whatever's really going on that day. Because I don't have a reason to put a delay anymore in between what I'm recording and saying and what I'm pushing up. I don't even feel like I need to do it anymore on that, but maybe I do. I don't know. But I'm looking at my YouTube channel now, and I have a video per day scheduled to go live all the way up to May 27th, which is 2 days away from today. I'm uploading 2 right now, so that's the 28th, 29th. So that's, 1, 2, 3, 4. 4 more videos, so the 27th being the last one that's scheduled. Then I have 1, 2, 3, 4 more at which I've got 2 uploading, so 2 more videos. And then the 1st of June. So I think I'm going to schedule 1 a day up to the 1st of June. And from there, anytime I upload another video and get it ready to go, I'll reschedule the ones that already exist so that they are releasing more than 1 a day. So if I get to the point where I've got 10 more videos up there, but 5 more days, I'll do 2 a day. Morning and evening, morning, evening, morning, afternoon, whatever. I'll stagger them out so that they release on certain. You can set YouTube to make your video go live whenever you want. So that's why you've been seeing a video every day, because I can shoot a bunch, and I like this. I like the pace of being able to shoot a bunch of content and then just create 10 days worth of videos out of it. So I think I'm going to keep doing that to an extent, but I'm going to, so I think when I get out of this place, I think I'm going to do 3 kinds of videos. One is going to be like a regular update where I just tell you, hey, this is what's going on right now. Chaos to come back. I think I'll keep those thumbnails, and I'll do that kind of a video where I just talk about what I'm doing to get from chaos to coming back, and make that the focus of those videos. Just, this is what's going on, this is the challenges, these are the challenges I overcame, and just give you that update. When I decide to go on some other topic or some other discussion about some topic, I think what I'll do, instead of just shooting an off-the-cuff video, I'll put some notes together and some bullet points and maybe some other things, and just kind of make a more structured video where I talk about a topic and maybe do like 10 of those at once. Like maybe just pick a day where I shoot 10 of these topic-based videos, as many as whatever I can, build them all up, do whatever, light editing, probably with some still images or video clips mixed in, whatever backs up the topic I'm trying to talk about without going overboard on the editing to where I'm going to be just quagmired by it. But that'll be video format number 2, and those videos can be delayed. So I could do 10 of those and set them to come out twice a week and schedule it out for 2 whole months, so that I have now 2 months to do 10 more. And whatever rhythm I can get into with those, I can just keep forward dating them so that they just release, so that I have content to throw at you that is coming out more than once a day with just me rambling on about whatever. So 2 structured, and I'll have a separate video format, thumbnail format, for these topic-based videos, and I'll come up with some sort of overarching playlist for it, so that, and these will be a little more structured. It'll be kind of like when I go off on some anti-government or just philosophical kind of a discussion about something, but it doesn't have to do with what's going on today in the daily kind of update. And maybe the daily updates can be shorter and easier to do. And those can be the off-the-cuff ones that I just, maybe push up as I record them. But I like the thumbnail format that I'm currently using, because all I have to do is change the title and hit upload and it's done. So they might be a day or 2 delayed as they come out, but I'll try to do it to the point where I don't record another one until I get the one that I just recorded up. And so I'm trying to think structurally, how do I do this to make the channel better and to make the content a little better to watch? So I'll have two different types of videos. And then the third type of video, at least for a while, I want to get a more compact helmet camera for my bicycle rides that I can mount to my helmet, that has image stabilization and can hold a large amount of video, like an hour and a half worth of video footage, and possibly get a chest mount strap for a GoPro so I can do like multi-camera views and basically just record some bike rides. And what I thought I could do, I like to listen to podcasts while I'm riding my bike, so I'm wondering if I can get some sort of microphone, some sort of wind-proof microphone that I could attach to my, like attach a microphone somehow that has a wind protection, either like, I don't know how this would work. I'd have to experiment, and I don't really want to spend a lot of money on this. So maybe a lot of you keep asking me to show you what it's like to bike around here, and I keep saying I want to, but having this big bulky GoPro cameras aren't that big, but when it sticks up off the top of my helmet, it's like making my helmet flop around. It's not comfortable. It's not a good thing to have up there for a 20-mile ride. I took the light off of my helmet because I haven't been using it now that the sun comes up later and I'm not riding at night. So I keep the helmet light in my backpack. I've taken other lights out. I'm not taking them with me. Just the helmet light that I can strap to the helmet if necessary, and one tail light that's a tiny little blinking tail light that straps to the back seat post, the back of the seat post, and I just leave that attached to the bike. And when I switch bikes, I switch the light. And then I use that on my way in the morning because it's still a little bit dusky right now. And I'm probably going to get to the point where I don't even use that. But in the morning, you've got rush hour assholes that are just kind of not paying attention and they're groggy. And we still got a little bit of dusky morning light. And I'm like, just having a flashing beacon is not a bad idea. I have been hit by a car in the past, so I know that, you got to do it. It's my responsibility to be seen. Especially when, the douchebag in the giant lifted Dodge Ram comes by on his way either to or from beating the shit out of his wife. I have to be ready. I have to know that he can see me. If he's honking at me, trying to run me off the road and throwing a temper tantrum because he sees a guy on a bicycle riding on the road and he has to throw shade at me, well, at least he saw me. That's proof that he saw me. I'd rather have him see me than run me over because he didn't see me. So, as much as that gets on my nerves, but I wouldn't mind recording some of the bicycling that I'm doing. And if I don't do, I thought maybe, because it's an hour and a half bicycle ride going into the bakery, so maybe I can just pick a topic and do an off the cuff, here's me on my bike talking about something while I ride, give you something to watch, look at, listen to me talk, and just kind of turn that into, a lot of people do podcasts or YouTube videos while they drive. I see this a lot. There's a podcast called The Survival Podcast, Jack Spirko. It's a pretty well-known, popular podcast. I haven't listened to it in forever, but I just remembered it. I think I don't like listening to it lately because I'm struggling to survive, and this guy's talking about, how to shield your solar generator from an EMP attack at this point. I'm like, I don't even have an electric bill in my name, let alone a fucking solar farm with backup batteries and a Faraday cage to protect my homestead from an EMP attack. I barely have 2 weeks worth of food. So I don't think that show is gonna do anything but make me feel like a piece of shit.
but maybe I'll listen. I liked it back in the day. Maybe I'll give it a try. But he started out his podcast driving to and from a job in his car. He said he'd put a microphone somewhere and he would just talk on his way into work because he had like an hour-long drive. And so he would talk while he drove and then put it up as a podcast. And as it got more popular, he eventually, now that's his main form of income as far as I'm aware, is that podcast. And so I've seen like the Truth Tiger guy that I've done some interviews with. I'd like to get him on this channel and do videos for my channel. I'd probably record it a little bit differently, like over a Zoom meeting or something like that, where it's I'm going to like tell the dude, I'm like, I'm not going to edit this at all. Just to, so that I don't, misrepresent something somebody says or whatever. But it won't be live, just because if there's technical difficulties or whatever due to a crappy internet connection. I don't know. But those are some things I could do. But the bike riding videos, it would be easier for me to put a GoPro on my chest, because they make a chest strap for that or mount it to my backpack strap. That would even be better. I might even be able to whip something up that works for that purpose without having to buy a strap. Or they might make a specific backpack thing or the chest strap would be nice because it would be centered. And so you'd have two views, one from the top of my head, one in the chest. And I could even mount a separate GoPro camera on my backpack, facing the back. And I could hit start on all three cameras when I start a ride. And it wouldn't be that difficult. I just have to be aware that the one on my backpack might shit the bed halfway through the ride. The battery might die. The one on my head, I would hope, if I can find the right camera, would have a battery life and a capacity to store my entire bike ride at least one direction. And then the chest-mounted GoPro will at least allow me to know when the camera's working and when it's not. And then I have my phone mounted on my handlebars looking up at me, so I can get shots from there as well while I ride. But I can talk to you guys while I ride my bike. And if that doesn't work because I can't get a microphone that works well with all the wind, and because there's a lot of wind noise and a lot of noise that's going to come in through a microphone while you're trying to ride a bike. The only other thing I could think to do is maybe edit the bicycle ride footage and just talk like a narrated video format, where I use the bicycling footage and just talk to you guys. I don't know, and I want to do bicycling videos, bike repair videos. I want to do videos about photography and photo editing. There's all kinds of things I want to do. How much time in the day do I have? I don't. So I really, the biggest goal in my life right now needs to be figuring out how to structure my time, because the freelance work is the most profitable stuff I can do right now. And I'm having a very hard time carving out the time I need to do that. So after I move, that's going to be a bigger focus than anything else. But I'm going to continue to do the YouTube channel, because the YouTube channel is the reason why anything in my life is going right now. Anything that I have right now, a new place to live, freelance work, being able to live on my own, being able to do all these different things, it all boils down to having this YouTube channel is the catalyst that did it all. And so I feel like this has got to be, unfortunately, this has to be a core thing that I spend time on, because it's going to take time, obviously, for things to work themselves out and grow and everything else, especially when I run my mouth and I say things that I'm not supposed to say and all that kind of stuff. But at the end of the day, it just feels like I need to keep doing this channel and keep working on I just need to be able to keep doing this YouTube channel because it unlocked so many things, and I really feel like this is part of how I'm going to get from chaos to the comeback. The YouTube channel has been a big part of that. I also have to diversify my video platform to be on multiple channels. See what I'm saying? Like, I just gave you a list of things that I want to do that I already know I can't because there aren't enough hours in the day to do it. It's already 1:45. I started pushing videos up to YouTube an hour and 45 minutes ago, literally. And the second video is still uploading and it's only 50%. And the first of the two videos just exported from Premiere because that one needed a couple edits added to it. And I exported it from Premiere, but I'm going to wait until this one gets uploaded to YouTube because if I try to upload 10 videos at once to YouTube, the problem's going to be that the bandwidth will become so split among multiple uploads that most of the uploads will just stall and I'll have to re-upload all of them. So the next round that I upload will be 3 videos at once, possibly 4, because after I hit the stop button on the video I'm shooting right now, I'm going to jump into Premiere and I'm going to edit, which editing in this case means taking 2 separate video up to 4 video files that just need strung together as one video and hitting an export button so it saves as one video file instead of 4 separate files. And then I'll have to gang up all the videos that are ready to go next in the upload sequence of things. And it's a little confusing. And it's going to take, like, this is my day. This is what I'm going to do today. It's Sunday. It's a restful thing to do. It's going to move the bar forward. There's other things I should be doing, but right now this is important. So, wow. Okay. I see the comments coming in from a previous video, and I was talking about this kid, or this club that an ex-girlfriend and her ex-husband used to belong to, and it was called No Kidding. It's basically for couples that hate children, and they have this club where couples that hate children can get together with other couples that hate children and don't want anything to do with children, so that when they're hanging out together, there's nobody's fucking children walking around getting on their nerves, and they don't have to listen to all the other couples talk about their children all night. Because that's what couples do when they get together. They talk about the kids and, working on the house and, mowing the yard and my new powder room or whatever the fuck these boring ass married couples talk about when they get together. Well, this club is for couples that hate kids, so that kids are out of the conversation and there's no kids around when they get together. So they can go to a restaurant or they can go to a dinner at somebody's house and they don't gotta listen to a bunch of screaming brats running around. I talked about this in a previous video. In fact, it's the video that was released on May 20. Well, I don't even know. The title of the video is Bicycle Maintenance and Landlord Scams. This dude, Michael Freeberg, just commented that I'm only half right. He said he belonged to the No Kidding Club, but for him, it was to date women that didn't have kids, because he doesn't want to date women that already have kids. But most were coupled up already. Well, yeah, because the club is for couples to hang out with other couples. So, I don't know, you were in the wrong. I mean, you can get on Tinder, you can get on Bumble, whatever these fucking apps are where you just swipe. Yeah, she's all right. Yep, she looks good. Yep, sure. Nope. Back the last time I was using Bumble, if I would look at all the photographs. To see if the girl's good looking or not. If she's not, swipe left. But if she's wearing a mask a COVID mask in a photo on a dating app, and this was the date. I had screenshots. I took screenshots. I don't know where they are, but and I'm not going to look for them. If I stumble upon it someday, I'll talk about it and I'll show you so you believe me. But I took screenshots of all the women on the dating app that were wearing COVID masks in their fucking dating app profiles, which is just a symbol of I support Biden, and that a lot of them were holding with their vaccine cards, either with their mask or without their mask, but holding up their vaccine cards to show everybody that they're vaccinated. And a lot of them would even say in their description, if you're not vaccinated, fuck you, swipe left. They won't date somebody who's not vaccinated. Well, I don't want to date a woman who's vaccinated. I don't want to get that shit all over my I don't want to be sticking my private parts in a vaccinated. What if the vaccine comes in through that, like AIDS, and then now all of a sudden I've got the fucking Pfizer vaccine running through my fucking body, taking me. No, I don't want a girl who's vaccinated. That's more important to me than if she has kids or not. I could date a girl with I got kids, so I can date somebody who has kids. So I'm not going to join the no kidding club to try and meet chicks without kids. But yeah, I mean, you can get on one of those dating apps and make a really obnoxious profile about what you're looking for and what you're not looking for. And before I did that, I would match up with a lot of women, but then I'd start talking to them and I'd be like, oh, fuck this, block. Or you'd have to go on a date and meet up with somebody and be like, nope, I can't, I don't want to see you again. Ghost. Things like that. You're going to go. But if you make a really obnoxious profile that says, I wish I had a screenshot of it, because I was extremely obnoxious. I was like, if you voted Democrat, if you're wearing a mask in your picture, if you're holding up a vaccine card or even took the vaccine, swipe left, get the no Democrats. I had all these conditions about who I would date, and that was really obnoxious, and it was funny. I wish I could remember what I said, because the number of matches that I received went down to almost nothing. I was paying for the app, but I'm talking like once a month. It went down from like multiple times a week to like once a month getting a match that a girl I could actually talk to, because we both swiped right. But every single time when I would match with a girl, the first thing out of her mouth was like, oh my God, that was the funniest thing I've ever read. I gotta meet you. Like, I need to meet you in person. You seem like a really cool fucking dude, and I'm sick and tired of the guys that I'm normally meeting on here. But that only happened a few times, but when it did, it was like, bam. And one of those turned into a long-term relationship. Because we pretty much agreed on everything right off the gate. And we had it was just a really good match. And, but that's all I'm saying is be honest. Be honest about what you're looking for. If you try to put out, like, I guess if you're looking for a certain kind of fish in the ocean, put bait on the hook that only that fish is going to want to grab. If you try and put bait on the hook that all the fish are going to go after, you're going to end up with a bunch of fucking carp and nasty ass, gross tasting, smelly ass fish. But if you're looking for tuna or halibut or something good, put something on that hook that only those fish want. You won't get hardly any bites anymore. But when something tugs on that line, it's going to be the fish that you wanted. It's not going to be a waste of your time. You're not going to pull out a fucking, you're not going to pull out a, I don't know. I don't know fish well enough to know what the horrible ones, I only know what I want. So, you know, that's all I'm going to say. Put the bait on the hook for the fish that you want to catch instead of trying to put bait on the hook that attracts every fish in the sea. You'll get what you may have to wait longer, but the results are going to be better. You're going to actually want that fish that you caught. So, like I said, I'm waiting for a thing to upload. It's taking its time. It says I got a half hour to wait before I can do the next batch of uploads. So I'm gonna stop this video. I'm gonna try to prepare as many as I can so I can upload like 4 or 5 at once. And I'm just gonna keep doing this throughout the day and into the night until I get as many pushed up as I can. I don't even have to do the metadata thumbnails and that kind of stuff. I don't really have to worry about that too much. Because those I can do pretty much any day sitting in front of my computer. I don't have to. Those are I've got a formula for getting those done quickly, at least for now. But I just kind of wanted to give you an update, even though you probably won't see the update for some days. But I am going to try to merge the channel back to the real timeline that we live in, instead of having these videos come out like 2 weeks after I shoot them. The ones that I'm uploading right now, like I said, May 9th, and it's the 25th. That's 16 days. That's more than 2 weeks ago. The ones that I'm putting up right now, I recorded 2 weeks ago. I can't remember what I said. I barely know what they were about. When I write the description, I'm using AI to do it. So AI just reads the transcript of the video. It comes and then summarizes what I talked about. And then I can be like, oh yeah, I remember talking about that. And I'll correct it, any mistakes. But I need descriptions, titles, keywords, and all that stuff for YouTube to know what to do with the video. And so, like I said, it'd probably make the views go down to an extent. But I think this will be good. I think this is what I'm going to do for a while. And just get this so that when I move and I start fresh, I may even just put a quick update up after I move and continue putting these older videos up and just let you know what's going on. I don't know. It's all a mess. It's all a mess, and I've been in this mental shit show since April 3rd, and supposedly, May 31st is supposed to be the end of that. So hopefully June 1st is the beginning of a new thing. And I'm really hoping that things start to mellow out. I'm looking forward to the move. I'm looking forward to the new place. I'm looking at the calendar for June. June 1st is Sunday, a week from today. And I'm hoping that next month, I'm hoping it goes smooth. I'm hoping it goes smooth. I got a lot of stuff to figure out between now and then. A lot of stuff to figure out between now and then. But I don't know. I'm going to let you go. Peace out.